All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I am going to be reviewing Ghoul by Brian Keene, a great little horror novel. And I love Brian Keene horror novels. I've got the entire, well, not the entire Brian. I don't know how many Brian Keene books there are, but these are the Brian Keene books that I have. Anyway, I just read Ghoul. I will review it now. It came out in 2007. Let's talk about the cover because, I love graphic design and cover illustration. This one's, it looks all right. I mean, it's got the, the hand, the zombie-like hand coming out of the grave. Written in 2007, but it takes place in 1984, and it is, oddly enough, about zombies coming out of a graveyard. So the cover makes sense, folks. So, takes place in 1984. It's actually why I'm wearing my Def Leppard shirt, because early on in this book, there's a reference to the Def Leppard song, Die Hard the Hunter. And I swear, and I kid you not, and this is not made up, all it took was him to reference Die Hard the Hunter by Def Leppard. And then I had that song stuck in my head for about 5 days straight. 5 days straight. Die Hard the Hunter. If you don't know it, YouTube it, and it will be stuck in your head for 5 days straight. Inescapable. It's an inescapable, catchy song. And badass, too. But anyway, I digress. 1984. So this is Brian Keene. Clearly, this is his Stranger Things. Let's go back to the 80s and pump as much 80s nostalgia into a horror story as we can. And he does it very delightfully. I actually really like it. The opening scene takes place in the graveyard of the Golgotha Lutheran Church in central Pennsylvania. I don't know if that even exists for real, but it's cool. That's a cool name for a church. Golgotha Lutheran Church. Very ominous name for a church, too. That's why I like it so much. It seems like a very gothic church that would have a graveyard. And our young kids, Pat and Karen, teenagers, decide that Karen's father is the chaplain of this Lutheran church, or the bishop or priest. I don't know what they call him. He's the main guy in Golgotha Lutheran Church, and she is the daughter. Think Footloose. Remember the teenage girl, Wren? No, that was the guy's name. What was the girl's name? Wren was the Kevin Bacon. Or no, was Wren the girl's name? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. Footloose, right? It would take place in 83, 84 too. And there was a girl whose father was the church guy who didn't want any of the kids to dance. And but she wanted to dance with Kevin Bacon. And so this kind of the setup of this. The girl is her father is the leader person of the Golgotha Lutheran Church. And there's a cemetery out back of the church, and that's where she takes her boyfriend Pat to his brains out in the middle of the graveyard. And that's how the opening scene. And well, things don't go well, because as you can tell, the graveyard has some weird shit happening in it. And so they're out there doing their dirty deed. And by the way, the dude Pat, he parks his Chevy. No, he's got a muscle car. And it's a Chevy Nova. My friend had a muscle car Chevy Nova. So I know exactly what this looks like. When I was a kid in the 80s, I remember there was a muscle car my friend had that was a Chevy Nova. And it was dope. Super dope. Cool. And but this Pat, he's got his Chevy Nova muscle car. And he parks it out by the cemetery at the Golgotha Lutheran Church yard. And he takes the girl, and they're having the sexual relations in the graveyard. And Prince's Purple Rain is playing loudly from the speakers of the, and that's the thing, is every around every page, every turn of every page, there's a reference to the 80s, and it's cool. I like that. And but then they get killed by the creepy, and then not only do they get killed, but they kind of get disappeared. They just get disappeared because after they get killed by whatever creature is in the graveyard, it's probably a ghoul, I'm guessing. Somebody even creepier comes and cleans up the murder scene. So we got creatures, mysterious creatures, coming to life out of the graves, and of the Golgotha Lutheran Church, and then we jump to another scene. Well, our main character is Timmy Greco, and he is just a young kid, probably 11 or 12. Actually, I looked to see what age he was. I could not, the author never mentioned what age Timmy was, but just based off of what was going on, I pictured him as about 11 to 13. And all the other kids, 11 to 13, that were in this book, it's like a Stranger Things type of a mystery now that we've leapt into. 80s nostalgia, ghouls coming out of the graves, zombies, monsters, creatures, weird things happening in this small town in central Pennsylvania. And all Timmy Grace and his buddies want to do is have a summer vacation, but then they end up in this life and death battle with nightmare creatures that are unearthed from the graves. And the writing is blunt, it's simple, it's visceral. Brian Keene has been known, if you've watched any of my other reviews of some of his other books, he's known for just amping up the grossness over the top. So this is a great little Stranger Things-esque 80s nostalgia, small town, coming of age story about youngsters. If you like Stranger Things, you're going to love this. That's all I gotta say. Ghoul. If anything, it could have been longer. I mean, it's probably one of the shorter. It's only about 330 pages, but the type size is pretty big. So, you know, it's one of the quicker reads. I read this in an afternoon and absolutely loved every minute of it. I give this an 8.5 out of 10. Even though I absolutely loved it, I kind of liked, well, I know I loved Urban Gothic a lot more. And Dark Hollow. Yeah, but this is good. This is a good, quick horror novel read.